Boop. Okay. 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 Okay, I think we're almost there. Bop. And bop. Bop. And bop. Bop. Okay. 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 You guys want to hear me say it again? Okay. I have submitted my taxes. There we go. I'm all good now. We're set. Hello, Casual Coder, and hello, Cinnamon. Welcome on in on the YouTube side. It's good to see you both. Hope you're doing well. Admiral, congrats on grabbing first, and thank you for submitting your taxes. The fan, hello, welcome on in. Hope you all are doing well. We are back to building every single update. I really need to start on this side of things. That way I can kind of take you through the progression of everything. We are in 1.21.9 right now, and we'll be on 1.21.10 before long because there's a bug fix getting ready to be pushed out. But anyway, that is the newest version of Minecraft, so that's what we're playing right now. We're just trying to get some I'm waiting for some tools to update so that we can finish up all the bottoms of the islands. But until then, we're just going to keep building tops of islands because there's plenty of them to still do. Today, we'll be actually tackling the pretty scary update, 1.4, which features things like the Wither skeleton, witches, witch huts, things of that nature. We'll cover all of that in a minute, but I just want to take you through every single island. So right here, we've got pre-classic, we have classic, in dev, inf dev, alpha. Where's this alpha? Wait, no, this is beta. Then this is 1.0 release. We got 1.1, the introduction of super flat worlds and blacksmith village chests, which also included the spawn eggs, fun fact. So that was 1.1, 1.2, and then we did 1.3, which had the temples and desert villages, which were a pretty big deal, really. Everything up until this point has been pretty easy, and it'll probably continue to be easy until I would say you get to like 1 point. It's gonna be tough once you get maybe 1 point. Was 1.7 a big one? For some reason, that's in my head that 1.7 was pretty big. I don't know. I do not know. I wonder who. Cinnamon, no worries. You're all good, dude. You don't ever feel like you have to be here. I appreciate you popping in, though. How are you? I'm doing well. I'm pretty tired. I had to cancel stream on Friday. Just because I was really tired. I was feeling uncreative, which felt like a bad way to start a stream, so I just opted to cancel instead. That's been a very common theme the last couple of days. I thought the weekend, just taking all of that off would help, so I didn't do anything Saturday. I hardly did anything Sunday, and I still feel that way a little bit today. So I have decided that we just gotta push through that and keep trying to do things, keep telling myself to create, because that's ultimately what I want to do, is to create. And so today's gonna be a little bit of a shorter stream probably, but my hope is that I will still make it through just fine. I drank some coffee today. We have coffee creamer again. Welcome on in, Raiders. How's it going? Emmy, how was your stream? If you guys haven't already, be sure to follow Mythically Emmy. Thank you, mods, for the shout out. Appreciate it. How was the rest of your stream, Emmy? It's good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Reg, what's up? What's up, Nathan? How was your stream? I mean, if you need to hop out, raid and run, eat, sleep, drink, do whatever you got to do post stream, please feel free to do so. I know it was a longer stream there. It was coming up on like probably 6 hours, maybe. I don't know. It looked like you were there for a while when I had popped in for a little bit, and I knew 5 hours. Okay, man. GG's. GG's, dude. Yes, please take care of yourself though if you need to. I guess I can stay like 30 minutes because it's 1 a.m. That's so fair, Cinnamon. Please feel free to go get some rest when you need to. Don't ever feel bad about that. I respect it, Cinnamon. I respect it. Okay. So to catch you guys up to speed, we've been building all these islands. So every island is correspondent to a Minecraft update, ranging all the way from the very first versions of the game, pre-classic, all the way up to present day, which will be 1.21.9, the Copper Age update. Although by the time we finish this, we'll probably be having snapshots for Mounts of Mayhem, which will be 1.21.11, if I had to guess. So, right now this is 1.3, which featured the 2 temples and cocoa beans, funnily enough. One of the weird things that got added in this update, as well as you could trade with villagers. That's what was really special about this. My bad. You could trade with villagers in this version of the game, so it was a pretty big deal all around. Also, these were the items that were added within the update. Hello, Nightmare. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. So today we're gonna be starting with the what was it called? The Pretty Scary update. So I'll just go ahead and quickly read this off to you from the Minecraft wiki. Java Edition 1.4.2 is the release of the Pretty Scary update. It's a major update to Java Edition released on October 25th, 2012, which added a number of new mobs like witches, bats, zombie villagers, wither skeletons, and wearable items and placeable heads. It also featured a better sound engine, a new boss called the Wither, command blocks, anvils, beacons, new food like potatoes, carrots, and pumpkin pies, carrots on a sticks for controlling pigs, and new decoration items such as item frames, flower pots, and cobblestone walls. The pre-release for 1.4.2 was released on October 24th, 2012, and the full release 1.4.2 was identical to that, and it was released the day after. Thank you for the lurk, Emmy. I appreciate it. You guys were working on the Community Guardian farm, right? Lots of breaking and placing sand. I don't envy you one bit. I've had my fill of sand placing, and I hate it, dude. I hate it. But it's awesome that you've been able to work on that. I know Elfie's very appreciative of everybody who's taken part in helping clear out the ocean monument. It's been a big to-do list item, and seeing it come through to completion is awesome. The new school year just started. I missed already like 5 days. That's fair, dude. That is completely and totally fair. Week, I already missed, what, 7 days? Oh my goodness. Don't know how, fair enough. If you get sick, that's like the worst part about like school years. It's like you can miss, what is it, 2 weeks or something like that. And that's like hardly any time at all. And I want to say it's 2 weeks in at most for some places. Like, that's not just like the middle of the road. How much school can you miss? I'm seeing a lot of places say that it could be 10 days of unexcused absence. So, unless you get permission to miss, then it's only 10 days, which is crazy. that's not a lot of time. Like, if you get sick, you get, like, the flu, let's say, that eats up almost all your time right there. You could be at home with the flu for a week easily. So, you know, if that's 5 days, and then you get sick another time a little later with, I don't know, COVID, for example, that could take you out for another 3 days, 4 days maybe, depending on which strand you get. And before you know it, you've eaten up all those days. Ooh, I don't know how the school system works that way. I get why it works that way. I don't understand how people actually function within that small box. It's a scary thing. It is a scary thing. Let's see. I guess my friends already forgot that I existed because they didn't see me those days. Dude. I remember I was missing for 2 weeks and my friends pretended to forget about me. It was the best 2 weeks of my life, though. I'm not gonna lie. Just, like, disappearing for 2 weeks was fun. I didn't do that online, by the way. I did that just to my friends in real life. I didn't tell them I was leaving, and they didn't have an opportunity to text me, so they just didn't see me for 2 weeks straight, and it was awesome. It was awesome. The flu took me out for a whole week. Oh, absolutely. And you had meds. Like, it wasn't just like you were toughing it out. Like, you did have medicine. It just... It takes that long to heal from the flu. Slash that block. Stone. Okay. And then I want some grass. Put that right there. Okay. I want my chest. Oops. Chest. Up. Okay. I'm going to take this and put it over here. We're going to need a double chest, actually. Because of how many items are in this update. So. Beacon. We need the command block. Poison. Boop. Boop. Right? No, that's night vision. Poison was already in the game. I don't know what I was thinking of. It just looks like poison on my screen because I can't see. Carrot, potato, golden carrot. Just between those, and then baked potato. Sorry. And poison potato. There we go. Up. Swiftu, the school system, yes, the school system. That is what we have ended up starting to talk about. And you know, we can talk about that. I have some thoughts about the school system. I don't mind going off on it today. Are you playing Minecraft? I am playing Minecraft. Hello, Pixie. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. I'm still so tempted to write a full research level paper why it sucks with backed up research, quotes, and evidence, and how to fix it. I'm not even kidding you, Swiftu. I was about this close one night to doing it myself. I was homeschooled, for context. But even I can see just how bad the school system is in terms of setup. It's not healthy. It's just not. But there's no good way to address it until you have some sort of person who is in favor of some form of reform. I need skulls. And then I need the zombie head. Which painting is that? Wither. Okay. Nether star. Carrot on a stick. Pumpkin pie. And the wither skeleton egg. No, that's the bat egg. Hang on. Those old textures throw me off, dude. But yeah, I really want to do it. It's just, it's hard to find. I would need to send it off to my state representative, and part of me this is so narcissistic of me, and I need to suck it up and be okay with it. Part of me wants my name on it, just to prove, like, hey, don't think I never did anything for you guys, okay? Because, like, part of me thinks, you know, it says a lot that a homeschooler is somebody who's wanting to call out how bad the school system is. I don't know. But I really want to have my name on it, and I know the second I send it off to a representative, my name gets taken off of it and theirs gets put on. About the only other way I could do it is building up my own task force, coalition, caucus, some sort of caucus to from the ground up to get a school reform. And I don't have the connections, preferable connections to do it, and I don't think I could get it to be a bipartisan sort of deal. Even though the welfare of our children should be bipartisan, it would actually split every party. Neither of them would like what I would do to the school system. I'm cutting out both of their crap out of it. Let's see. Like, my school is counting every second that I'm not in the school. They're very mad at me because of that. My teacher in geography and biology did scream at me for that. That's crazy to me that they're allowed to do that. Like, they should make you want to be at school, and by punishing you for not showing up to school, makes you not want to go to school. That's actually crazy to me. In Germany, homeschooling is illegal. That is an overreach of the country's power. That is actually an overreach of the country's power. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I would put my name on it. Heck yeah, dude. There's someone in the room with you? Nope, just me. Hello, ya dumb. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. No, I invest that much time and have my name not on it. Yeah, fair enough. Use a made-up word randomly in the paper, and it's secretly an anagram for your name. Nobody would know. Then your name is technically on it. Ooh, that's an idea. That is an idea. I don't know. I'm thinking of it. I may just make a whole YouTube video about it instead, and then just heavily promote it on social medias at every single senator, every single representative, the president, the vice president, the whole cabinet, every single governor. I'm gonna annoy the heck out of people if I do it. Like, they're all gonna know who I am by the time that ends up on the table. I wouldn't even mind showing up in a summons, because I think, quite honestly, the school system is abysmal. Let's see. Did you listen to this? I'm so sorry, dude. I suck. I took the last 2 days off, too. Like, I did literally nothing the last few days, and I somehow didn't even think about it. I did try to draw, but that doesn't really count for doing much. I need to add that to my to-do list or something. Like, serious. Let's see. What's your favorite version of it? Favorite version of Minecraft? The current one, because it has all the features. I'm all about building and such, so every new version of the game that adds more and more and more blocks, that's my favorite version. You know, I more variety is awesome. Now, if I have to pick just one version of the game, I struggle. I really do struggle because I used to play on the Xbox 360 version of the game, and we didn't get updates because my parents didn't let us sign up for Xbox Live to get the updates, even though there was a free version of Xbox Live that would just connect you to the internet. We didn't have that in my house because my parents thought it was going to cost money, and they didn't like that, which is fair. So I played on title update, was it 12 or something like that, for the longest time. And that's just how we played Minecraft. I didn't have iron golems. I didn't have villager trading. I didn't have I didn't have like anything really. We had the Nether, we had the End, and we had, of course, the overworld. But the overworld was very limited in what it had. It didn't have jungle trees. It didn't have dark oak. It didn't have acacia. It had birch, spruce, and oak. And then we also had... We didn't have cats or ocelots either because we didn't have jungles. It's those little things that I really missed when I started playing, because there was all those little small things. And then, of course, once I got on Java, I had all those things. And I started back in, like, the snapshots of 1.13, I think is what we determined. I don't remember. But I just love whatever's the newest update because it has all the features I need. My teachers would try that once, then they'd get their block knocked. Yeah. If somebody yelled at me for being absent, I would just stick it to the man and say, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be absent even more. Although I don't know if that's a good idea, considering the country has outlawed Germany has outlawed homeschooling. I wouldn't put it past them to try to put criminal charges on you or your parents for skipping school. It's crazy that they can just do that. What the heck? This one friend of mine said today again that Canada is the biggest black hole in the universe. That's crazy. At this point, I'm just asking you if you listen to them as a troll. One day I'm going to say yes, because I'm going to remember. As all the new features and all the new bugs. That is a good point. Although, I will say the last couple of updates haven't had really any bugs. Like, there have been a few, but it's not been nearly as buggy as the big updates that they were doing every year. Like, game drops have significantly changed the game in that regard. They do that in America too, by the way. Not having your kid in school. Yeah, that is a bad thing. Your kid should be in school, but you should have the right to educate your child however you want. That's my issue. I do believe kids should be in school. I don't believe the government should be able to tell you that you can't educate your kid. I don't believe the government should be able to tell you that, I don't believe the government should be able to tell you that, and I don't believe they should be able to tell you the teachers should not be able to berate students for not showing up. That's the thing. You know, if anything, there should just be a letter sent in the mail to the parent that says, hey, your student has missed X amount of days in class. We just wanted to let you know that they have X amount of time left in the school year before we start insert process name here. Please ensure that student name makes it back to class. You know, blah, 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 blah. I am 100% pro-education, okay? I am. I know as much as I crap on the school system, it makes me sound like I'm not. I 100% am for education. I think it's a great thing. Everybody should be educated to some degree. I am not for the state or for the government to tell you that you have to educate them a certain way. I'm not for them being anti-parental rights. The parents should have more rights than the state in terms of what they do with their children's education, in my opinion. But, you know, that's a whole other ordeal. Thank you so much for the gifted subs to Random Seza and Random Items. Appreciate it so much. Thank you, Swift, dude, for the 2 gifted subs. You're amazing, dude. Curse that man, we are tied. But I am technically not first for some reason. You're first. You technically, I feel like, should be first since you gifted more recently, but I guess because he got there first, he's held the record for the longest amount of time. I don't know. That's an interesting thought process, I suppose. But thank you so much. I appreciate it, Swiftu. I love the Copper Age version. I got so inspired with copper crap. I made a massive copper clock tower the other day. That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. My cat just bumped 2 times into the door. Cats are so silly. I love cats. My English sucks. Osama, please avoid making political statements in chat. Appreciate it. Thank you. If you miss 7 days of school for an unexcused reason, you or your parents can go to jail for up to 90 days, and that number can go up the more they miss. Yes. Can't help but feel a little bit sad when you and Gus talk about the Xbox 360 because I had a PS1, 2, and 3. I was a Sony pony until I got a PC, but I skipped out on the PS4 and PS5 gen. That's fair. I didn't have a Xbox 360. When did the Xbox One come out? I didn't have an Xbox 360 until the Xbox One had been pretty much announced, it looks like. I could be incorrect there, but that's looking accurate, at least for my very brief search. I was not one team or the other, in all honesty. I started on the 360 in terms of Minecraft, but I had... Here, I'll go ahead and explain my console history. So growing up, my brother had a Nintendo and a Nintendo 64. And we would play those occasionally. He also had a PlayStation 2. We would play that PlayStation 2 all the time. For the longest time, we got a Wii when that came out. I remember seeing the commercials on TV and everything. And then we didn't get a new console besides like a DS until my grandmother passed away. Then we got her PSP, PlayStation Portable. And then we also got her Game Boys and her Wii and her PlayStation 2. And we held on to those as replacements for our other consoles if they ever died. Because the Wii had like a overheating issue and the disk drive had issues. Constant issues with the Wiis. But we always used them well. We didn't get an Xbox 360 pretty much till the Xbox One was ready to be announced, so they put them on sale for a pretty big discount. And then we didn't get a new console until the Wii U, probably 2 or 3 years after we had the Xbox 360. And then we didn't get an Xbox One until my brother-in-law gave it to us when he got his PlayStation 5. Maybe. No, it wasn't PlayStation 5. He got his... That was when he got his computer. He bought an Alienware laptop, and so he gave us his Xbox One because he wasn't using it very much. He's like, hey, I want you guys to have this, and so he gave it to us. He also gave me his laptop. My brother-in-law is a very good guy, okay, guys? I just gotta brag on him. That man didn't have to give me a single thing, but he's given me, he gave me a lot of things in terms of gaming so that I could really take it up from where I was. Because I used to game on a little old laptop that really sucked. It really, really sucked, but he could see I wanted to game, and so he you know, I'd play War Thunder on this little laptop, and it would get hotter than the sun, probably. And, you know, after a while, he gave me his old laptop, because it was just a Lenovo, but those Lenovo's are, like, fire, dude. I wish I still had mine, but the hard drive died in it, and we never tried to fix it for some reason. I had enough money to buy a full-on computer at that point, but I do want to try to fix it if I can. I just got to see if I can find it, because I gave it to my brother to try to fix, and he never gave it back, so I gotta dig through some stuff and see if I can find it or something. Anyway, all that said, you know, I didn't necessarily have the latest and greatest stuff, and I didn't always have, I wasn't on one side or the other. My parents just didn't buy us PlayStation consoles because that's not what we were asking for at the times. Also, the games on PlayStation usually were touted to be more mature audiences, so my parents just saw that point blank and said no a lot of the times. It usually came with like a M-rated game or something of that nature. My parents immediately saw that. We're like, we're not getting that for our 5 children, one of which is probably, I don't know, probably no older than 5 years old, you know. Nintendo was an easy sell for my parents, you know. They bought us Wii's and Wii U's. They never bought us a Switch, but it was because it looked like a really expensive DS. So we just never got one. And then also, of course, like, there would have been a whole issue about sharing, and who wants to do that? Am I right, guys? So yeah, we had a lot of issues there. You were young enough when the Switch came out for that? For what? Young enough for what? I'm sorry, what? So I guess I had a PS2 Fat and PS2 Slim. Yes, we did too. We had a PS2 Fat until it had a tragic fall. Humpty Dumpty kind of stuff. Yo, check DMs, bet. Hey, yo, you actually did it, Gus? That's awesome. Is it good? How is it? Was it worth it? That is my question for you. I doubt it's worth it, to be honest. Like, have your parents buy it for you? Yeah, I would say so. My parents, you know, I was still a minor. Like, my parents were buying me things clear up until I was like, I don't know. They bought our last console would have been a Wii U, and I believe they got that when I was no older than 13. But yeah, my parents, they were buying me stuff clear up until I was probably 16, 17. For Christmas, you know, things started to dwindle down a little bit at that point because I had money, and they were like, we can just give you money for Christmas, or we can buy you stuff. That's up to you. But, you know, the things you want are so expensive that we know you'd probably just rather the money so that you can save up for what you actually want. Because my parents, they can't afford to buy us all, you know, crazy things that other parents buy their kids, you know? And I don't blame them for that. I actually thank them for that. I don't want to be a spoiled brat, you know? And that's not to say every parent who does that stuff will have spoiled brat children, but that's more so just to say, you know, it saved me from having to learn any hard lessons about not everybody has that amazing lifestyle that we all dream of. I don't know. What happened to the cam? I have a channel point thing on Twitch, so people can name tag me with channel points, and it turns me upside down. There's gonna be other name tag redemptions, but that's just the first of many. I want to make sure I'm all caught up on chat before I move on. W indeed. I have an app, my classmates too, and there's like standing, like, your kid was 39,000, 2%, 100% not in school. And then there's like English, German, math, etc. And then there are the hours that I missed. Really? So it tells you per class too that you missed. That's insane. I've attached an image in your DMs to set a clock tower bet. What we got? Ooh, pretty. Dang, Swiftu. That is awesome, actually, though. When I'm not going to school, my mom didn't message my teacher about that. The police came and drove me to school. That is insane. That is actually insane to me. Wow. I never wanted to pick one side. It was just I got my PS1 from my uncle, my PS2 from my uncle, and my biological father gave me his. And he got that PS3 from my biological father. The only console that wasn't hand-me-down I had was a PS3, and then the Switch I bought once I had a job. That's fair. That's completely fair. ThinkPad, heck yeah. Love ThinkPads. I'm sad we both have 16 gifted, but you're first. Considering I'm dying from heat and can sit down, absolutely fair enough. Fair enough, dude. You are a spoiled brat king. That's crazy. Winjeb underscore. Sooner rather than later, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. Really? See, I remember when I got my Switch when it came out, and that wasn't too long ago, just 2017. Like, I mean... Yeah, my parents bought us... Like I said, my parents bought us things until I was probably 16 at the latest. My parents still bought us things, but, you know, it wasn't like they weren't buying us gaming consoles necessarily because the things we wanted were just too expensive for them to buy. They weren't going on sale. Like the Switch never went on a good enough sale for them to be able to afford it for us. Usually, like, consoles were a joint gift for me and two of my other brothers, so that was how they were able to afford it, was it would come out of the three of us. All right, little budgeting tip for you guys. Any of you got kids or will have kids? If you'll put aside money for each of your kids for Christmas every year. By the way, Christmas happens at the same time every year, December 25th. So if you're going to celebrate Christmas, you might as well start budgeting for Christmas within the time that it's reasonable. So like, you know, January 1st of that year, go ahead and start budgeting for it. That way Christmas doesn't surprise you a couple of weeks before and you're like, oh no, I don't have gifts for my kids. I don't know how I'm going to pay for them. That's just a thought. I don't know. But, you know, financial responsibility scares some people. Budget for it. My parents used to budget, and they still do this way. They take the amount of people that they are buying for, and they kind of figure out how much they're spending on each person. So, you know, for their nieces and nephews and their grandkids, you know, they kind of divvy up the money there, and then for their own kids as well, they kind of look at it and they go, okay, this is how much each of our kids are getting. They try to make it fair across the board. And then that's how much they spend. So when it came to big gifts for us younger kids, they would usually bundle it between the three of us because they knew we would be much more happy with a bigger gift than a small gift that we'd play with for maybe 2 or 3 weeks before going back to our other favorite toys. So an Xbox was a better choice than 10 Nerf guns, lightsabers, and costumes. You know, that sort of thing. Now we still did get other things on top of that, but you know, my parents were able to work it out in a certain way so that Black Friday they would shop for a lot of our stuff. And they really maximized Christmases with a lower than average income, I would say. I don't know exactly how low our income was back in those days. My mom didn't really like flaunt that in front of us as kids, as she should. You know, my mom did a really good job with the money though that we had back then. It was crazy. Police are very present in schools. We have police 24/7 in our school. I don't mind police being at school. I just think it's a little crazy that they go and get you if you don't show up. Like that's insane to me. Stefan, thank you for submitting your taxes. I appreciate it. I gotta go now because it's 1:38 a.m. and I have to sleep because when I'm not gonna wake up, my school's gonna get mad at me again. Have much fun in the stream. See ya. See ya, Cinnamon. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it. Have fun at school, or try to. And try not to miss any more school, I guess. Just trying to be in places like gyms and lunchrooms and hallways during class changes. That's where the most kids are. That's fair. Police are awesome. I'm going to say it. I have a few friends who are police officers, and they're some of the coolest people I know. One of the guys I know, he's really chill. When I first moved here, he and his dad offered to take us out to the gun range and just go shooting for a while. It never happened, but they were wanting to do it really badly, and then the cold came in, and we were like, we're not going out there, and then it got really hot, and so it ended up not happening. But some of the coolest people I know really are police officers. And don't get me started on the K9 units. My favorite police officers, okay? Back when I used to live in Florida, the K9 unit and his handler, they would be at all the events, and this is back before it was like a big deal where you're like, don't touch dogs who are working kind of thing. They let us love on that canine so much. It was high tier memories there, in all honesty. It's crazy, Gus. I saw that he never responded. I'm glad you said something, though. I just needed to tell you that. I'm so glad you said something, because you are probably the only person that could get away with saying something and it not be a bigger issue than what it needs to be. So thank you for saying something. Thank you so much. King, do me a favor. If I ever have a kid shoot me? No. I think having a family is like the most amazing thing somebody could do. If you ever have a kid and you don't want the kid, then I may shoot you because you made a choice and then didn't take any of the precautions to avoid making that choice. But that's like a whole other issue. Let's see. Same time every year, that's news to me. I know. It's it is it's quite shocking that Christmas happens every year in December on the 25th day of the year. Like, I don't know. I've never seen that happen before. I'm gonna have a kid technically, and in my will, I will tell everyone I have a living descendant. That's crazy, Swiftu. That's actually crazy. Everyone has to give him $100 or you're basically stomping on my grave. That's gonna be like a new Monopoly card. You have an unknown nephew somewhere, lose $100. You're my favorite toy. That's crazy, Gus. It's so annoying every time. Yeah, I totally get that. Gus. Flames, thank you so much for the Prime sub. I appreciate it. 24 months in a row. That is a whole flippin' 2 years. G flippin' G's, dude. That is insane. Thank you so much. How's it going, Flames? It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And he's going to be at the funeral, so I feel even more pressured. Are you gonna leave him in your will too, or like? I'm very curious. If I ever have a kid, adopt them. I may think I'm capable of raising them, but I'm not. That's fair. I don't know. Do you guys really think I should be adopting kids? I'm intending to have like several. Like a lot. Even for like Catholics. I'm not Catholic by any means, but I'd give the Catholics a run for their money. Like, I'm talking a lot of kids, okay? People are always so weirded out when I say that I'm gonna have a lot of kids. I don't know. And maybe, like, when I actually get to that point, maybe I'll change my mind. But I don't think I will, in all honesty. Children are just a joy. And I'm pretty certain of that. As somebody who has spent a significant amount of time around his nieces and nephew, kids are awesome. And if you can afford to have them, I mean, I'm not saying I'm everybody, but I think you should have them. Like, they're just awesome. Slash place. Structure. Swamp hut. Why? Okay. That works. That works. Okay. Hello, Deacon. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. I'm good. I just played Portal and half of Portal 2 for the first time. Hey, let's go. How are the games? I love Portal. Portal's awesome. Portal is awesome. I was going to be more aggressive, but I feel like I was already too much. I think you were just the perfect amount, Gus, in all honesty. I woke up today and I was just checking my Discord and then I saw that. And I was like, I probably should say something, but I'm not gonna. And then I went back to sleep. It was yeah, it was a solid response in all honesty. Because you're Gen Z. Gen Z isn't supposed to want any kids. I know. I it's crazy to say this, but as a Gen Z, I think children are awesome. Yeah. It's wonderful. I know some people are weirded out about it. Some people haven't reached the same conclusion I have, that children are just awesome. But one day, I promise you, everybody will be on the same page as me, but they'll be all too old. What's the Gen Z term? No kids disposable income or something? Wait, what? What's that Gen Z term? No kids disposable. I'm so confused, the fan. I'm so confused, but I'm sure dual income, no kids. Okay, gotcha. Dink, yes. Yeah, that is an accurate thing about Gen Zers. We're not making enough money to support a household on single income, so nobody can stay with the kids, which means you have to pay for childcare, which eats up one of your incomes anyway. It's a whole lot of stupidity, and it's an infinite problem until either wages across the board are up, or taxes are down, or having kids is economically beneficial. This has been an ongoing issue. And in all honesty, there are ways around it. Most Gen Zers aren't willing to take the ways around it. And this is actually not a bad thing. I'll go ahead and like get into it just a little. So Gen Zers are like probably the best people you could ask for efficient solutions. And the reason for that is because they are all about doing things the quickest and laziest way possible. Because we're so used to having a tool in our hand that does everything for us. Old people will make fun of you for using those tools, like using a calculator, like looking it up on ChatGPT or on Google. However, that is the most efficient solution. They would much rather go to a library and research in a book, or to do it all on paper, the math, instead, when you could just do it as fast. Gen Zers are all about efficiency in that sake. So when it comes down to it, yes, we're a lazy generation, but some of that is just because we don't have a reason to not be lazy. And not all of us are that way. A lot of us do work hard, but it's because we actually care about what we're doing. If you truly care about having a family and having kids and having the life you always dream of, you will work 2 jobs. You'll work You'll work 2 jobs. Your spouse will work on the weekends so that you can take your weekend off so that you can spend time with your kids. And you're going to attack that debt instead of going on a vacation, instead of buying a brand new car. You're going to buy used cars. You're going to live super, super, super cheap in the early days so that you can invest a lot of money in those early days so that it becomes a lot in the later days so that you don't have to work as long. And you're going to retire early. You're going to have your kids. You're going to have a great college fund for them, possibly, unless you just want your kids to pay for their own college, which I'm all for. Are you explaining the stock market? Actually, no. You could invest in the stock market, but I do not recommend it. I do not recommend investing in the stock market, and here's why. Yes, you can be like me and have made $30 out of $1, but that is not the norm, okay? So you're better off investing in things like money market accounts or in physical assets like retail, like housing and such. However, if you don't have the capital to do investments in housing, don't do that. Best thing I can recommend, investing into the S&P 500. It has a, a 15% return, or is it 12%? It might be a 12%. Here, I could tell you. Hang on. S&P 500 return. The long-term average of the S&P 500 has delivered an annual return of about 10.54% since 1957. As of October 2025, its one-year total return in the last 12 months has been 19.38%. So that means if you invested $100, you would have 120 by the end of this year. About. A little less than. Which is pretty big when you're talking about having more than that. You may have even more. The year-to-date return is approximately 15%. I could probably tell you as well. Go to over here. Over the last 30 years, the average annual return rate has been between 10 to 12% of the S&P 500. So let's just say you currently have $100 in investments right now. You're 21 years old. You're going to retire when you're... according to this site, 67 is the earliest you can retire with full benefits if you're born after 1960. So we'll just put 67 as your retirement age, and you're going to only put in $100 a month. Let's go low end, 10%. You'd have over $1 million by the time you retire. You'd have $1,169,028 in your investment account, in your retirement savings, just because of compound interest alone. You start with 100, you put 100 in monthly, and you're making 10%, which is the low end of the S&P 500. You'll have over $1 million in your bank account. And that's if you retire at 67. 67 is not a great age to retire. So let's put a little bit more in there. Let's put 200 in there. And let's say you're going to retire at 65. You're not going to need the full benefits, okay? You would have almost $2 million. Let's say you wanted to retire at 60. You would have $1 million by the end of that. $1 million isn't a great retirement plan if you're retiring at 60, because you could live another 40 years. So, obviously put more into your retirement, but quite honestly, you could do quite a lot with that. I'm explaining this to you now. This is a lifetime trove of knowledge. I'm giving you guys this for free. All the investment bros are going to tell you, buy crypto, buy stocks, buy this, buy that. I'm telling you, just invest it in a retirement account. Something that has the S&P 500. Invest in that. It is your life-saving grace, people, okay? You're not even putting in that much. 200 a month. Let's see. If you're making like what, 40,000 a year, which is a pretty good paying job. I don't think most of us here are making 40 grand a year, but most people making 40 grand a year probably aren't watching Twitch. But let's say you're making 40 grand a year. Divide that by 52. That's 769 a week, or 3,000 a month. I think you could find $200 in each of those paychecks to put in there. Now, if you don't have, if you're not starting at age 21, it's a little harder to get this going. The benefit is in compound interest, you want to start early. The earlier you start, the higher the gains will be. For example, in the example of retiring at age 60, starting at age 21, you have 100 in, you're contributing 200 every single month at a 10% rate. You started at $100, 0% of your total savings account at that point, at the end. You've only put in $93,600, which is 8% of what you're going to have in your retirement savings. It's going to grow $1 million. $1,053,000. That's free money. Like, you only put in less than 100,000 and you walk out with $1 million more. This is free money, people. It's free money. And if you're buying coffee every day, I'm going to do this. If you're buying coffee every single day, give it up, okay? On average, that's about $128 a month if you give up buying coffee every day. Which you could put that into investments as well instead. Put 100 extra in there every month, and you could take the other 28, put that into buying coffee grounds, buying your own creamer. You will live. Trust me. Coffee at home tastes just as good at what they make at Starbucks if you know what you're doing. You put that extra 100 in there for 300 a month instead, and you'd have 1.7 million in the bank by age 60. Like, I understand how the math works. I don't know a ton of it, but I can tell you, the more you put in early, the better. You know, if you really want to be rich, it's not hard to be rich. Especially if you're just trying to retire. Gen Z refuses to do this, though, because I shouldn't just generalize like that. I know that's going to get me in trouble, but Gen Z refuses to delay instant gratification. We live in a very much me, now kind of situation and culture, which isn't good. It's not good. You know, if we would give up some of these things to have other things when we're older, we'll be much happier. Which is revolutionary to some people, but I don't know. I've seen enough people suffer through retirement to know I'd rather retire rich than retire in an okay spot. Because I don't know, have you seen some of those old people who like go out and are just going and seeing things, who are able to buy their kids and their grandkids really cool stuff? Like, I don't know. I want to be one of those old guys. If you're one of my descendants, you're going to have a really healthy inheritance, you know? I'm not going to be able to make my kids millionaires or anything, but I could give them a pretty good, I put them in a pretty good spot if I do my due diligence and actually am a good steward with my wealth. Anyway, there you go. You guys didn't ask for that, but I think it was important information and I couldn't hold it in. And I figured out how to stream on Twitch, so that's cool. I know I'd love it. It's great, and I'm not even a huge fan of puzzle games. Awesome, dude. Also, awesome on figuring out how to stream on Twitch. I'll have to check out one of your streams next time you're live. I file a report. I mean, you can definitely try. I'll talk to the mods and see what we can do. Make me president as someone who has never ever been a billionaire. I know how to use money efficiently. Exactly. New cars are our biggest waste of money. Always buy secondhand. Absolutely. What is it? A new car loses like 25% of its value the second it's off the lot. Something like that. It's insane. Buying a new car outside of the cosmetics of it and knowing that nobody else has tampered with it, which is somewhat an assurance for some people. But if you're buying from a dealership anyway, buy used. Like, you're going to know that it's going to run. It might have a couple of dings and a couple of scratches, but the second you drive it off the lot, you're going to drive right behind a semi-truck, and it's going to have, like, a whole bunch of sand and a whole bunch of rocks falling off of it, and it's going to scratch up your car anyway. Or the neighborhood kid is going to accidentally catch a rock, and it's going to fly right through the window. Or he's going to bump it with his push mower because he wasn't paying attention. That couldn't have been me at one point. Never. Your new car will be a very, very short-lived, nice new car. It will become used very quickly. It's just a waste of money. It just is. You would buy a nice car for $10,000 here in the US anyway. Instead of buying a brand new car at $20,000, and you're gonna probably be disappointed with it regardless because it's a $20,000 car that you went into debt for. Because you're not gonna just buy it for $20,000. You're buying it really for probably I don't know this to be fact, but for a lot of them you're probably buying it for $25,000 if you're buying it for $20,000 because the interest rates are stupid. It's just not a good deal. Instead of stock market gamble that's randomized, you have higher odds. As long as you're willing to walk out once you've won, yes, gambling actually isn't terrible, but you need to be good at it. I think they raised it to 70 recently. They probably did. But honestly, you don't need the full benefits of retirement if you're putting all of your money into those, into the investments, because you can just live off of those and then actually retire legally after you hit that age, and then collect your benefits like Social Security, like if you have a company invested Roth IRA or 401k, whatever, you know. And if you have a company that will do retirement plan matching, use it. Like, genuinely, you are passing up on free money if you're not doing it. There's no reason to not. Even if it's a small percentage, it's, like I said, it's literally free money. I'm tempted to run for political office just to fix education in this country. Being the president isn't that hard, really. Become a lawyer, be a lawyer for 5 years, go fight in some war for 5 years, go run for a mayor, run for some state legislator, run for governor, run for president. That's the steps. You can skip some of that, depending on the party that you want to run for. It's all about who you know, in a lot of the situations. Most people in political office right now just happen to know the right people who connected to them, to the other people who ended up saying, hey, we want you to be the face of our party this year, so we're gonna throw you up on the stage to try to be our nominee. Money definitely helps as well. You can pour a ton of money into your own campaign, and you can definitely do some things. Quite honestly, though, Swiftu, if you want to change the education system, you should try to definitely get involved a little bit in politics. Not super involved, keep drafting ideas, work with your local government and your in terms of like your town and your school district. Try to get them to pay attention, because that's how any law and legislator gets passed, is usually by experiments in smaller areas. They for example, like the 4-day school week was it was tested a lot before it ever became a adopted in more areas. I don't know if any of you are in an area that has the 4-day school week, but I lived in a town for a little bit that had one, and they liked it pretty good. I don't know if it's expanded beyond what that was, but it was a test. They were like, hey, we're testing it this year, and everybody loved it. So, you know, you can do quite a lot in terms of that. Also, I need to place some trees. / place feature tree. Swamp oak. There we go. But yeah, you know, if you can start there and then prove that it's successful, then you can try to take it up the ranks and say, hey, this is what our school district is doing. Our students are proven to be 50 times happier, or 50% happier rather. And they're proven to be, you know, we're seeing an overall increase in their grade scores as a result. You know, as long as you're staying within the federal stuff. Now, the problem is if you have to go outside of what the federal government agrees is an acceptable education, then you're in trouble. Then you actually need to be at the federal level of the Department of Education or President of the United States so that you can work the Department of Education. I think you could win feasibly on the platform of education overhaul, because a lot of people are unhappy with the education department right now in general, on both sides of the aisle, because a lot of people feel like college is a waste of time. Elementary school has skills that matter, but they're overworked as kids, and then high school is filled up with a whole bunch of garbage that is stressing our teenagers out when and they're losing out on their childhood to some degree. You know, it's a whole ordeal. But if you can tackle that whole idea of what education looks like, and you promise that you're going to attempt to fix it, you could probably win a lot of people over. Especially because by the time you're running, I believe Gen Z would be a huge voter base. They'd be people with kids if they had kids. If they didn't have kids, Gen Alpha will be having kids at that point too. You know, they're going to be seeing this and going, I remember going through school. I don't want my kids to go through that. You're going to win a lot of people over on that platform, I think. It's just all a matter of what are you, when you run, and what the world is looking like at that moment. You know, if the economic state of the world is in shambles, then people are going to be voting for an economist. Somebody who can have a huge economy plan that you know, bolsters the pockets of every American citizen. If you can find somebody like that, you're screwed. You'd be better off trying to serve on their cabinet so that they so that you can have more experience, and maybe the president will bless you with the handoff, essentially, where the whole party is like, hey, the president says this is our guy, so we're gonna rally behind this guy and try to give him all of our money. It's a very popular thing that happens in every party. It's very interesting how the US politics system works. It's not at all a good way for it to work either, I should say, but it does, quote unquote, work. It's interesting. Oh, I don't want that. I need lily pads. Okay. I would love to be mayor of this town. Our mayor sucks and nobody likes him. But nobody else wants to be mayor, and since mayors have no term limits, he just stays as mayor, nobody ever sees him, and nothing is ever done about it. I think it's Ohio. Has term limits for the Senate, I want to say. And so it's like you can serve, I think it's 8 years in a row. And then you have to be off for like 4 years, and then you can run again. So it stops things like that from happening. It forces other people to step up, and it stops people from remaining in power indefinitely. I really like that. And I think small towns should almost incorporate something like that too. Because it's how you end up in towns staying dead-end towns. Because, you know, there's nobody that will be able to replace them because, you know, how are you even supposed to get into that field, you know? If you've never run as a mayor before, how do you actually do it? I'm trying to think. I don't know the last time I saw the ability to vote for mayor in my own town. I've seen them around. They've been to events that I've been to, but I don't remember ever voting for my mayor, ever. So, but if you don't know that you need to apply for it, if it's not already talked about that, like, oh, did you hear about such and such is running for mayor? Well, yeah, because current mayor can't run again, so now there's like a race going for it. Like, it would be so helpful. It would be so helpful for term limits for the mayorship. And it doesn't even have to be like insane term limits. Like I said, it could be just like Ohio, where it's you can be on for 8 years in a row, then you have to be off for 4 or something like that. I'd have to be sure that that's exactly correct, but I believe that's correct for Ohio. I could be incorrect. You guys can Google it and fact check me, but I believe that's the case. Term limits, I'm a huge proponent of. Huge proponent of. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your night as well. Appreciate you for popping in. College is a whole different ballpark. I think it's a waste of time, but I can't argue on it because I haven't been to college. I think it's a waste of time in the sense that we should be doing more apprenticeships. Everything should kind of work like a trade, in my opinion. I don't know why it doesn't. Like, ultimately, to become a doctor, you have to have a certain amount of experience within the medical field anyway. But you also have to spend, like, 8 years in school before you can even become a doctor? And, like, don't get me wrong, I think doctors are great. But that's a lot of time in school. And it severely limits the amount of people you can have as a doctor. Same thing with lawyers. I don't see why lawyers have to do so much school either, because, like, sure, you have to know the law, but to some degree it's just about knowing how to read the law, because ultimately nobody is going to have studied the law all the way through. You still got to look it over and go, okay, this is how the law is set on this particular thing. so this is how we're going to run this case. Most of them don't have like everything completely and totally studied. Anyway, there's a lot of issues I have with the college system as well. Obviously, the problem is that businesses have all adopted the fact that you need a degree. And I think a degree doesn't necessarily show that you are the best candidate for the job. Yes, you learned how to do it in school, but that's not how the business is going to do it. Yes, you learned it in school, but do you actually know how to do it? You memorized how to do it because that's how the book said to do it. But do you actually know how to do what you read? Hands-on experience is the most important thing, and that's what colleges do give, and that's what I love about them. They offer internships, they help you with job placement in some cases. But like in my case, for example, I am perfectly and totally qualified to run IT help desk, for example. You know, I could easily set up and tear down computer systems. I can troubleshoot computer systems. I am great at that. But because I don't have the degree that says that I know how to do that, or the certificate that says I know how to do that, I can't do anything. It's a whole slippery slope, colleges. I'm all for people going and getting educated, but college could be like reduced to half the time that it is, in all honesty. At least in my opinion. Now, that's just American colleges. I can't speak on other countries, but I'm sure they're probably similar to some degree. I know it might cost way too much. That's the thing about private schools. They can set their own prices. My big thing is if they're getting federal funding, then they should not be able to set their own prices, for one. And then two, I think we should actually have some government colleges. I think we should have a government college. Either every state has their own government-funded college, or the federal government would institute and put in several colleges within designated states. So they'd put one in for, you know, maybe they'd split the states into 6 categories and put one in each spot. And each of those colleges operate on the same things. They're all federally funded, and they're lower cost schools with plenty of grants acceptable for you to get to. Because, you know, I would rather the federal government pull funding from colleges and build their own schools, and then offer job placement even with that. Like, hey, you know, you were at a government school, so we know you've learned everything that you need to learn for this one degree. We're gonna put you in with the FBI, or we'll offer you a job with the FBI, or have some of the larger tech companies come in case of a tech field job, and work with them. You know, there's plenty of options that a government school could actually really work with. Right now, the Department of Education is quite honestly useless. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't really do much of anything. It's just there as a formality. If we would bring it up to the college level as well, and then I've already written up a whole bunch of ideas for the Department of Education to actually be in charge of. But I don't have the platform necessarily to like spout all this stuff. I have a lot of gripes with the education system. Let's see, President Regnog, vote now. I'll do it. Don't make me run. I will do it. Nobody runs for mayor. Elections don't happen. That's how most states do it. That's fair. You know what the first thing I would fix would be, though? It is so dumb that to start taking college classes in your field, you need to take normal classes like math, English, history, and science. Getting college credits is the stupidest thing in our education system. You know, it costs way too much. College is to be fully government funded. If accepted in college, you can go pay for staff and other things that come from the government. Maybe colleges have a smaller fee for each semester, more like around $5K a semester. Quite honestly, the worst part about college is the books. Paying for books is probably one of the most expensive parts. But I definitely see where you're coming from, and I do agree. College should be way cheaper. Most people cannot I shouldn't say cannot, but most people have a hard time graduating without any debt. Debt is the #1 reason why people struggle with any financial problems, because to pay off student loans, to pay off a new car, to pay off your mortgage or your credit card or what have you, you're always drowning. Because here's the thing, that paycheck doesn't go to you first. It ends up going to your debt first, because you have to pay your student loans. You have to pay your car loan. You have to pay your credit card. You have to pay those things. So you could be making $40,000 a year, but you're really only seeing, you know, probably 20,000 of that. Hear me out, we make infinite money. Why not make infinite money? To make college free? We aren't giving money to people, we're giving money to places. See, the more... I can't tell if this is satire or not. It feels like it might be. As lovely as an idea of just making infinite money is, sadly, it doesn't work that way. I really wish it did, because then we could do things like that. But then, like, the US dollar is so deflated, like, even more than it is now. Because that's what they tried a couple of years ago, was they tried to make more money. They just printed more. So that, technically speaking, for a few years, you had, you know, you had a couple more dollar bills in the economy. Everybody was able to be paid more. The government technically had more money. But then, you know, give it a couple more years, and everybody's like, hey, there's a lot more money. Well, in that case, this is going to cost more. This is going to cost more. And you're going to get a raise. You're going to get a raise. And before you know it, yeah, we're screwed. Sadly, printing money just doesn't work well. We need to circulate more money. And in order to do that, you need to pay enough. Yeah, you need to be paying people enough money so that they have extra money to spend, and you need to have enough purchases coming from other countries so that their money is worth less. Manufacturing here in the US has died a lot over the years. That's one of the major reasons why our economy is not as great. We are a consumer economy, which isn't a terrible thing, but you do need to produce something, otherwise consuming is just going to put holes in your pockets rather than put money in your pockets. So it's one of those really interesting things, and everybody has a different idea on how to tackle it, but quite honestly, none of the ideas are ideal. They are just simply put ideas. Obsidian. What am I trying to do? Okay, obsidian and fire. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, I think a lot more people could do with some education on how economy works within the world in general. I think a lot of people know how it works or have a general understanding of how it could work, but they don't truly know how it works. I don't know. That's not at you in specific, Swift do. I think you do understand how it works. But there are plenty of people who are like, well, what if, why tariffs? And I'm not saying tariffs are a great idea, but if you just look at it from the perspective of we need manufacturing here in the U.S. for the U.S. dollar to be worth anything, it makes perfect sense why tariffs. Now, is that the ideal way? I don't know. I haven't really looked into alternatives because I'm not in a position of power to need to worry about alternatives. However, you know, that's one way to force manufacturers to come back to the U.S., and it has worked. You know, I believe it's Toyota is building a plant here in the U.S. Because cars are so expensive to import into the United States right now. And so instead of buying brand new cars that are marked up by, you know, 100%, people aren't going to buy a car marked up 100%. But if it's assembled here in the US and all the parts are produced here in the US, then they can sell it back at the original price, and Americans are more likely to buy that new car. People will live frugally if they have to. You know, people aren't going to buy brand new GPUs from NVIDIA if they can't afford them. We will live off of the 50 series and off the 40 series and the 30 series that are here in the US right now, instead of paying the tariffs that are on the 50 series and the 60 series and the 70 series and so on and so forth. We would rather wait for a factory to be built here than pay $10,000 for a GPU, for example. Now, some of that hasn't made its way over here. I don't know what all that has decided to come over and what hasn't, but we have seen companies actually try to move back over to production here. One in specific that was in the news a month ago, maybe it was a week ago even, I don't know. Pfizer, popular medicine manufacturer, they cut a deal to make medicine cheaper here, as cheap here in the US as anywhere else in the world. So if it's cheaper somewhere else, it'll also be cheaper here. And we've also paused tariffs on them because they're also producing a factory here in the US as well. So we're cutting the overall tariffs on them because they have promised to move in, and that will create more jobs here in the U.S. So the unemployment crisis will go down. It will also create a economic boom because other countries are going to have to buy from here as well. It's not great for other countries in some regards because a lot of them are the only manufacturers of some of these medicines. But having more medicine made here in the U.S. is overall a net positive for the U.S. And I believe medicine in specific is, I don't think people should be profiting as much as they are off of it. It's not a good thing. I do understand you need to make some amount of profit on it so that you can keep funding research on other meds, and so that you can keep paying your employees, and so that you can keep paying your scientists. You know, I'm all for that. I'm not for lining pockets of big billionaires and such. Toyota. I will say, out of every car I've driven, I will probably die on the hill. Toyotas are probably my favorite. They're just nice cars. I drove a newer Toyota truck. It was one of the big ones. I don't know what it was. Oh, is that actually his name? Mr. Toyota. Sure enough. Dang. That's awesome. It wasn't a Tacoma. Which one was it? Maybe it was. Must have been a Tundra or something. But it was one of the bigger trucks. I drove it. It was nice. I don't like driving big trucks though. Poof. Big truck. I mean it. I did not love that. Now, I loved how it felt to drive it. I just didn't love how high it sat and how big it truly was. But I loved how it felt. I've driven my mom's SUV. She drives a Toyota Highlander. Drives a Highlander. I love that thing as well. It's so nice. And that one I don't have any issues with, in all honesty. The Highlander is a very well put together vehicle. Trying to think, have I driven any others? I've driven a Toyota. It's not a Camry. What's the other one? I want to say it starts with an S. But that might be wrong. Hang on. Supra? No. Oh, it's a Corolla. I'm sorry. It started with a C, not an S. It's a Corolla. The Supras are nice. I've not been able to drive one of those yet, but the Corolla. Corollas are great cars. Okay. I love the Corollas. I would buy one. Yes, Corolla. The S is silent. The S is silent. Yep. And honestly, okay, I'm looking at it. The Corollas aren't badly priced. Now, admittedly, they're not like the top of the line cars. You know, they're not. They're just not. But base MSRP, market sale price, is $23,000. Now that's brand new. But you know, consider the fact that that's a 2026 model, brand new. That's really good. Now, again, we're gonna say it. Don't buy a brand new car. Just don't. Don't buy a brand spanking new car. Unless you can afford to buy it in cash, and like whatever, you do you, but it's stupid. Even billionaires buy used cars usually, or maybe not billionaires, but millionaires do. Otherwise they wouldn't be millionaires. But you know, you look at that in 5 years, that's probably going to be a $11,000, $12,000 car. Probably. Just depends on how badly beat up it is. You know, that's not bad. In 5 years, you could buy a really nice car. And Toyotas last forever. That's their reputation. Them and Hondas. I'm just checking if I need to do anything else here. Hello, Oddly Fox. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. As always, I'll be back. All right, sounds good. I think we're good, really. The rest of this kind of like, you know, it's whatevs. Improved villagers to make them more self-aware. That is a changelog item if I've ever seen one. It's very interesting going through here and seeing some of this stuff. Carrots and potatoes can be found on farms and villages. The inhabitants of a village can now like and dislike specific players. Trading makes the villagers like the player. Hurting villagers or their iron golems makes the villagers dislike a player. They separated it so that players weren't just generally hated or generally liked. It's like, now I don't like King because he kills us, and I like Nafan because he trades with us, or things like that. Those small little details in these changelogs are always interesting. Okay, let's go to 1.5. 1.5 was the Redstone update, which was released on March 13th, 2013. And added a number of new redstone-related blocks and new decorative blocks, the block of quartz. It also included a scoreboard system, a new texture pack format, and a lighting engine optimization. A pre-release of 1.5 was released on March 7th, just a week prior, and it was re-uploaded and turned into the full release 1.5. Hello, Ellently. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. It's good to see you. Thank you for spending your taxes. Yes, you can have beef with villagers. It's great, isn't it? Okay. What we got in the additions? We got. Okay. Let's see. What do we have in World Gen? I want to see that. Nether quartz ore was added. That was all that was added there. What about changes for the world gen? Minecarts with chests instead of chests. Oh! Okay, wait. That's a big deal. Back here, I made a minecart with chests instead of just putting down chests. I didn't know that. I've had one-sided beef this whole time. No. It's okay. It's fine. They're ready to have beef now, I suppose. Villagers and I have had beef for a while. I try not to kill them because of the iron golem issues, but sometimes that doesn't go as well as we'd like it to go. There we go. All for accuracy. Nobody will be able to call me out and say, your video is inaccurate because at minute marker 223, I saw a chest and with minecart instead of just a normal chest, and it wasn't in blah 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 blah. I as much as I'm being a little bit satirical there, I am actually 100% serious. We all know there's people on YouTube who would do that. And I'm not about to get told off by some 5-year-old that I was inaccurate. I'm not. Although I seriously doubt any 5-year-old is interested in what I'm about to do for Minecraft video. Okay. I'm not seeing any major things to worry about. So we can just kind of build a basic island for now, and it can include the redstone stuff on there. But I'll just build that another time. And for now, we'll just kind of include the blocks and item additions. It's never zero. The kids are evolving. That's a good point. Kids are evolving. Slash place or slash set block. Slash set block. Grass block. Okay. Chest. I'm not even going to bother with building the island in all honesty, because I can build that another time. So what we'll just do is we'll add we'll just add all of this stuff. Okay, I need daylight sensor. Wait, what? I'm gonna ask you this question, guys, and you can't be mean to me. Has it always been daylight detector? I feel like this is known information, but I for some reason don't recall this all of a sudden. Daylight detector, copper, trap, chest, weighted, pressure plate. I swear it used to be called daylight sensor. Alright, we're gonna look it up. Daylight detector on the Minecraft wiki. Daylight detector is a block that outputs a redstone-based signal on sunlight. Okay, let's go to history. In 2010, Notch suggests he may implement daylight sensors in a blog post mentioning Alpha 1.0.2. In 2012 of November 2012, Jeb states that there may be a daylight sensor. In 2013, January 2nd, Jeb tweeted an image of the daylight sensor. Java Edition 1.5 added daylight sensors. In Java Edition 1.8, daylight sensors could be toggled between day and night. In 1.9, daylight sensors no longer emit. Why are they using daylight sensor? In 1.13, daylight sensor has been renamed to daylight detector. Right smack dab in the middle of Minecraft history, I guess. That would have been 2018. So 2025 minus 2018. 7 years. It's been 7 years since they called it daylight sensors. So yes, it was called daylight sensors, but now it's daylight detectors. I suppose, like, that's fine. It's just interesting. Bedrock Edition only changed the name of it to Daylight Detectors on September 17th, 2024, so just over a year ago. Why did they change it? I'm really, really curious why they changed it. Control F, sensor. Daylight detection became possible in the following following the Redstone update, which was released on March 13th. The patch added the daylight sensor. Okay. It never actually outright says that they changed the name in this article outside of in the Minecraft.net article. Why did they change it to daylight detect? The block name in Minecraft Java's edition was changed from daylight sensor to daylight detector to better reflect its functionality, as sensors simply detect stimuli, whereas block actuality changes in output strength based on the quality, brightness of the incoming light. The name was later changed in the Bedrock edition to match Java edition, making it Daylight Detector. The block doesn't sense daylight, it responds to it. That's fair. It detects it, it doesn't sense it. I guess. I don't know if I agree. I don't know if I agree. But I guess. I'm gonna click in and see if I can find when they renamed it. It was done in this, but why? Additions, blocks, pumpkins, items, debug stick, general. Changes, blocks. Okay, blocks with collision box. Banners, beds, buttons, cacti, chests and trap chests. Cocoa beans, dispensers, doors, fence gates, and pumpkins, heads, infested blocks, levers, note blocks, comparator, repeater, wire, signs, TNT, vines, enchanting table. Where is the daylight detector? Wait, what? It's not in the changelog at all. Why is it not in the... They just like... They didn't put it in the daylog. They didn't put it in the... Why? Why didn't they put it in the changelog? I'm so confused. Wait. Control F, sensor. Sensor's not on here. Daylight. Daylight's not on there. Detector. It's not on here at all. Why? Okay, if I go over to the next version, it's just bug fixes. About the next. It's not in any of the changelog. Why? I am so confused. This deserves a changelog. Where's the actual Minecraft.net article? I want to go see this myself. Control F, daylight. Detect. Sensor. Nope. They just kind of snuck that by on us. Although now that I'm looking at it, this was during a thing called the flattening, which, basically, from my understanding, the flattening was this, Minecraft had item IDs and block data for every single block and every single item, which meant that there was a limited number of blocks and a limited number of items, which meant we couldn't have different button types, we couldn't have different trapdoors and different doors and different pressure plates and so on and so forth, because there was so many of each type that we wanted that we just couldn't have. That's why we have all the different types of trapdoors, all the different types of pressure plates and buttons and walls and fence and all those things. It's because of the flattening. Now, it looks like sometime during the flattening, they also split up and renamed every single block and item because that's how it was supposed to work. Because it was no longer tied to the block data and item data, it was tied to what the item was called and what the stairs were called, or the blocks and items were called. They had the opportunity to go through and rename things, so they must have done it for that. I don't know. That's the only thing that makes any sense whatsoever to me. And that must have been a mistake, that they didn't mean to change it, but they did. I don't know that to be true, but that's something that is in my head as a possibility. Welcome on in, Raiders. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Let me get you some shout outs here. Dude, Jamaro, how's your stream, dude? Good to see you. If you guys haven't already, be sure to follow Jamaro. They are a fantastic streamer. They were playing some Minecraft. Are you back on Hypixel by chance? Some Skyblock, maybe? He was playing some Minecraft, though. He's a pretty cool German streamer. Awesome time over there. It sounds like a good time. I don't understand German myself. But when I was over there chatting a little bit, he talked to me in English and then talked to his viewers in German as well. It was a fun place to be. So I highly recommend you guys go check him out sometime and say hello at least. Let's see. There's still no concrete stairs and slabs though. I know, dude. I'm so bummed. I'm so bummed. Let's see. We play mod pack with the community today. Hey, let's go. That's awesome. That is awesome. Hello, DJ. Welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. And okie dokie. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the follow. How was the stream? Also, Jamaro, if you need to hop out, raid and run, get something to eat. If you need to sleep, because it's getting a little late there, do any post-stream things, please feel free to do so. But I appreciate the raid so much, dude. Seriously. Thank you so much. It's 3 a.m. I know. It's late, dude. It is so late. Please do take care of yourself. Let's see. Evolving. I thought it was sensor. Am I cooked here? I call them daylight sensors, but I don't think it was ever officially called it. I'm currently working on recreating nail designs. I saw in pictures. That's awesome. It's late. We will go to bed soon, but I wanted to say hi to you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. But definitely do get some rest. So it was called that. Oh no, I'm cooked. That's interesting though. Why did Bedrock wait so long? That's a good question. My only thought is probably once they realized that there was a difference, because Bedrock did not have the flattening. Bedrock never had item IDs because Bedrock was built from the ground up with the future in mind. Java Edition was built originally on a whim. So block IDs and item IDs were just how Notch developed the game. And so to ditch that was a very conscious choice by the Java Edition team. Whereas Bedrock, they had the advantage of building it a completely different way. So Bedrock probably didn't even notice until somebody said, hey, this is different. And somebody was like, I've got time. It's a 5-minute thing I can do really quick before I'm off the clock. I'll go ahead and do it. That's my only thought process there, maybe. Sounds funny. I'll have to show off some pics on Discord. I'm good. Thanks. Watching NFL and the main man rag. I got pizza too. Hey, W. We love us some pizza in NFL. How was, did you watch any of the game yesterday? It was the Patriots and the Bills. New England versus Buffalo. It was a very interesting game for the little bit I watched, but I didn't watch very much. I did watch a little bit, though. I watched up to halftime, and I just couldn't get through it. There were so many fumbles and penalties. I couldn't stomach to finish watching it, if I'm honest. Do you remember me? Yes, I remember you, B-Movie Guy. Hello, welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. Sounds fun. What pizza did you get and what teams are you playing? They're trying to trick us. Gaslight, Gatekeep, and Girl Boss. Yes, they were doing the triple G. Cook pizza at home. Not takeaway. Barbecue chicken. Ooh, and Chiefs and Jags. Okay. Surely the Chiefs will stomp. But there's a chance they don't. There's a chance that they don't. But I always just love to see some football, so that's awesome. Here's your hydrate, DJ. Thank you. See you later, Jamaro. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Much love. Thank you, thank you. Okay. We're almost good here. Watch 3 games, Eagles, Lions, and the Bills. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, let's see, I remember... trying to think. So I watched half of the game with... I watched half the game with, the Bills. I saw part of the game with the Lions, I think. I don't know that to be 100% true, but I believe. And that was about it. I may have been getting lunch or something like that when I saw them playing. Okay. Sorry, I had something out there. We're good, though. Hello, Panda Gamer. Welcome on in. I hope you're doing well. Lions is my team. Fair enough. Is it looking pretty good for them this year? I haven't been keeping up with it too much. But I do like to kind of watch here and there when I have some time. Quartz pillar. I can't see, so I actually have to like go and hover over the block to make sure I'm picking up the right thing. Activator rail. TNT minecart. One of my favorite things in the world. And that looks like a dropper. Yep, that is a dropper. And then hopper minecarts. W, we love those. Smooth sandstone and smooth quartz. Okay, that's all that's in that update. There's no world gen changes, so there's no point in me building a big island yet. We'll build like a little something later on. Probably some sort of redstone contraption featuring all these things. Just to show off how much redstone was revolutionized. But for now, I think we're okay to just avoid that and focus on other things instead. I am. How are you? I am as well. I'm pretty tired, but I'm having a good day, really. The last 4 or 5 days or so, I've been having bad energy dips and lack of creativity. But I'm okay. I'm having a dip in life, and that's the way it goes sometimes, you know? I don't know. But, you know, that's just the way it goes. That's just the way it goes. You know, I've got a lot to do this month. Let's see. I'm trying to get some things done with my video game. I told you guys a little bit about Omnia. I'm not gonna like go into a whole deep dive unless somebody just really wants to talk about it again. But I've almost finished the logo, like all the animated stuff. There's just like 2 or 3 small things that look stupid, and I'm trying to fix it, but I don't know how because I don't know how to animate. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know. So I've been trying to kind of work on that the best I can, but I'm not doing so hot. So I'm doing my best. I am doing my best. It's just not going well there. And I've been working on a t-shirt design for the next King SMP world download. It's looking sick. It's just got some small things that look off about it, and I don't know how to fix it. We'll see. But that's holding back my next video, which will hopefully be the King SMP world download announcement for Season 2. Well, that won't be my next video, but it will be one of my next videos. I want to get it all recorded and mostly edited so that it's ready for next week, I think. No. Yes. Yes, next week. It should be on the 18th that will hopefully be ready. But I may delay it till the end of this month if I need to, so that the shirt can get here and I can test it to make sure it looks good and feels good. I've been thinking about swapping suppliers, which is a whole other issue as well. I don't know if I want to do that or not. But, I don't know. I feel like we could probably get some better quality shirts, possibly. And that would be fun. But that does mean prices would have to go up a little bit. And I don't know how bad that would be yet. So I gotta kind of look into that. It's a scary thing to do, to look into those things. But I want to give you guys the best price, but also I want to give you the best shirt I can. And so that sometimes means like, okay, do we up it by an extra $1 or $2? $1.50 usually. So that it's a nicer quality shirt? Or do we keep it where it's at, but give you guys a cheaper price on it overall? And I don't know what the answer is there yet. But I have been considering it, because these shirts, they're nice. However, I have noticed in some spots you can sort of, you can't see through it, but light passes through it enough that you can kind of tell. Like, if I was holding my finger under there and just moving it, not even touching the cloth, you could kind of see it just a little bit. But you can't, like, see your skin through it or anything. But on a white shirt, which is what I've been working on for my main design for the next shirt, that's what's got me concerned. Because I don't want you to be able to see through these shirts. That's not a good thing. So I'm just trying to figure out just how bad these shirts are. If they're too see-through, then I need to move to another supplier that makes a little bit of a thicker shirt. But that's one of the things, and then just trying to make sure the design looks right, and then making the videos and all that stuff. I need to make a video for this weekend if there's no update tomorrow, which there probably isn't an update tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, I really need to go to bed. I hope you have a good stream. Thank you very much, okie dokie. Appreciate you for being here. I will catch you another time. Go get some sleep. And yeah, sweet dreams. Alright, our next update here is the horse update. It is a major update to Java Edition released on July 1st, 2013, which adds many new features including horses and their relatives, leads, coal blocks, carpets, new commands, resource packs, and a new launcher. A pre-release version of 1.6.1 was released on June 28th, 2013, and that pre-release was identical to the full release of 1.6.1. Let's see. There was no world generation additions, but in terms of world generation changes, there were no more water lakes within the deserts. And then there was chest generation added to nether fortresses. Overall, I'm not seeing anything in there that warrants me to build, like, something crazy. So I'll just build a new island, a very basic island, when we come back to that idea. This is also the update that they added stained clay. Interesting. Hardened clay and stained clay. What? Oh, hardened clay and stained clay, not... Okay. I was confused. I was really confused. Hardened clay is just clay that's been put in a furnace, but then you could dye that into your stained clay, right? Which is now called terracotta, but it was originally called stained clay, then yeah. Whole naming scheme thing again. I called my horse Mayo because sometimes Mayo is... You know, I think it was like a month ago that I kind of told you guys I would so love to have a horse as a pet. I think Mayo may need to be our horse's name. That might be the case. Slash set block. Grass. Chest. So luckily we've made it through like several updates really quickly, and that's just purely because they're not small updates by any means. They're just smaller in terms of I guess like what's the term? They're smaller in terms of world generation changes or lack thereof, which is definitely very helpful. So this is the update with all the carpets. Which I now have. And it was also with hay bales and leads. Leads were just updated very recently as well, which is awesome. This is also when horse armor was added to the game, which includes, but is not limited to, diamond horse armor, gold horse armor, and iron horse armor. As well as that, we had horse spawn eggs. And, I'm sorry, name tag. Stained, no. Terracotta. Terracotta. Boop. I was all added in a weird order. That's a block of coal. Why is... Light gray. Maybe not, that's white. What am I doing? So it's white, orange, orange. Okay. That's so perfect. It's a solid name. I'm considering stealing it. I might have to. Magenta, which looks kind of orange to me, but I know it's not. Is that light blue? Yep, yellow. Lime. And then pink, which is kind of more red. And then gray, which is kind of more brown. Light gray, which I don't even know how to describe that color. Cyan, which is actually one of the coolest blocks. Purple. And then blue. Brown. Green, red. And then black. 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 There we go. Black. I love and hate the terracotta blocks. I love them, but I hate how they're colored. Like, for example, pink. Is that pink? Because, like, if I got out some red concrete, for example, and I got out some pink concrete, for example, I don't know. I think it's more like red than it is pink. And if we wanted to, like, just to be fair, okay? Like, I'm not just picking concrete. Let's pick up the wool, too. Okay? Yeah, no, I think I might still be right. I don't know. Let's just get shulkers to be sure. Pink, red. Yeah, no, I think that's still red. What about glass? Surely the glass will adjudicate this, right? It's red. It's red. It's red. Now, just to add more confusion to it, red terracotta. Even more red. And I mean, when you put this next to that, you're like, yes, this looks infinitely more pink all of a sudden. But it's only because you have an in-between now. That looks orange to me. This is where it gets really confusing, guys. Not to mention, normal terracotta. Which also looks absurdly orange. And then, like, you want to pull out cyan and some gray, light gray concrete. Okay, maybe not light gray, maybe normal gray. Hang on. Yeah. Those are, like, very similar, but cyan itself is supposed to be that. Like, who in their right mind said, yes, this block right here is cyan? Who said that is cyan? Because that is not cyan. Anyway, I love and hate terracotta blocks. They look great. They look cool and are the goat for building, but it annoys me the colors don't match their names. That's red, not the pink. I love pink. Pink is a great color. It's just, man, it's pinkish in a sense. I mean, like, I am too, but we just say I'm white. Like, I don't mean to be that guy, but, you know... Looks orange to me. Why? Who? Okay, I see why now. Terracotta's dye mixed with the clay. So you take the dye of the color, mix it with clay. Actually, really looks like together they make the terracotta. Like, sure, I get that to an extent, but I don't think I agree with that. Like, yes, I do get it, but this is not black. This is not. I mean, it's very dark, don't get me wrong. But that is not black. And it hurts when you try to say that it is black, because it just isn't. This is brown at best. A very, very dark brown. And, like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad ultimately that they did that mistake, because it ended up inventing concrete, because people were like, we need colors that actually look like the colors that we said. But it's just, let's see. It's concrete. Jorby, thank you for submitting your taxes. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well today. Take that clip out of context. You can do whatever you want, dude. I can't tell you what to do. Back at it again with the gaslighting, telling us it's one color or not, and it's not. I know. Mojang needs to, like, put their head on correctly. The shade of brown you'd find in a dark world. Dark Sanctuary, Dark Fountain, Roaring Night. I have a feeling this might be a Deltarune reference. Just possibly. 1.7.2 is the update that changed the world. This one's gonna be a big one. I don't think I'm gonna build that. It's a major update to Java Edition released on October 25th, 2013, which added many new biomes, new flowers, stained glass, better networking, new commands, and more. A pre-release for 1.7.2 is released earlier on October 25th, 2013, though the full release of 1.7.2 is identical to the pre-release. Yeah. There's a really solid joke there. That I could make back, Swifto. Anyway. So in terms of World Gen, they added acacia trees, dark oak trees. They also added the mesa, savannas, roofed forests, birch forests, cold taigas, mega taigas, extreme hills plus, deep oceans. They also added sunflower plains, flower forests, ice spiked plains, mesa, bryce, jungle edge, mutated biomes, which has different variations of like more gravel or more water or taller trees or whatever. Does it start with your and end with mom? I wish. Yes, that's exactly what it was, Swifty, yes. Let's see. They also added amplified worlds. Yeah, there's just no way I build that right now. There is absolutely no way I build that. Man. I mean, to be fair, I don't know if I can really justify this. I built 3 updates, technically speaking. We built a pretty scary update. We built, the redstone update. And we built the horse update, guys. See, we built so many updates today. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. That's that's lovely. To be fair, I did build 3 updates though, like technically speaking. So many updates. I don't know how I just built so many updates all in one go. It's a mystery to me. So thank you for spending your taxes. I appreciate it. What we could quickly do is we can clean up these. I don't need world edit for these because they're so small. I can make them disappear pretty quickly. You shouldn't even be here. You should be a black cat, right? Don't black cats spawn in these? Not that kind of cat. How did he get here? Wait, what? Technically, he actually is. You shouldn't be here. He literally shouldn't be here. Like, where did you come from? Bro's a speedrunner. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I technically am. I had the world record for a version of Minecraft at one point in time. I want to do it again. We're gonna probably do some speed running on the 12-hour stream, so you guys will get to see me do some more runs, hopefully. Should do it tomorrow? Speed run? Or the 12-hour stream? Because there's no way I do the 12... Well, I wouldn't say there's no way, but there's almost zero way I do the 12-hour stream. But... speedrun, maybe. I could think about it. But I really do need to focus on getting the Twitch SMP base done. And I feel bad. The reason why I need to focus on it is just because I've been spending so many days off. I've been taking a lot of time off lately. I took off 4 streams last month. And I don't know how many I've taken off this month so far. I think only 1. But it's very likely going to be a lot more even. There's no verified runs for 1.21.9. I'm sure somebody's done at least 1. Another illegitimate cat. Illegitimate. I meant illegal. That doesn't really help either. Never mind. We're just not gonna, we're not gonna comment on that anymore. That could go really bad. Why are you beefing with the cat? The cat was not supposed to be there. He was the wrong cat. Let's do... There is no verified runs for 1.21.9. I mean... I'm trying to think. 1.21.10 will be coming out soon-ish. I could technically try to be the first to put in a run for that and just do like a... If I could get a sub 1 hour, I could be first. That's still not good, Swift dude. That's still not good. Also, to answer your question, the fan, I haven't quite decided on a day. I'm really thinking October 14th might be the best day. Even though I'm not fond of that as my choice. Because it's not a weekend, but I'm struggling otherwise because I've got, let's see. This weekend I just can't do. There's no way. When is my doctor's appointment? When is that? That's the 20th. Okay. I'm sorry, I meant the 13th. The 13th of October. So next week could theoretically be it. But I'm not really feeling it. That's the thing. If I'm feeling this way still by that time, I don't want to do the 12-hour stream. Because I had a hard time staying awake today. Next weekend is the 18th. I don't have anything on my calendar for that. I could probably stream on the 18th, but if my mom's recovering from surgery, which I think she will be. I don't know when she's going in for surgery. I don't want to be too loud. And I want to be pretty available to help her. But if I do it on a weekend, my brothers could pick up the slack then. So I may just go for the 18th. Otherwise, I have October 25th. Possibly. But I don't want to put it off any longer than that. I want to do it in October, that's for sure. I could always try to do it on a Friday. Combine it with one of our current streams. So go from do what I did last time, go 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's kind of when I want to start it anyway. No later than 10 a.m. EST and no later than 10 p.m. EST, because I know I'm prone to fall asleep if it goes any earlier or any later than that. So I don't know. That seems to be the sweet spot, at least in terms of 12-hour streams for me. Last time we did it in December, it worked out pretty fine, but I don't know. We'll see. I really do want to do it again, though, and I promised you guys a 12-hour stream, so I just feel like it should be on a weekend. That's the big one. And maybe I do it... If I do it on Friday, then it has to be... It would have to be after my brothers get home from work. If I do it... So that would have to be from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m., really. That's just not realistic. That's not realistic at all. Although that would put me at a good time to go to sleep. Like, I usually go to sleep pretty late anyway. But I'm trying to get better about it, so I don't want to mess it up too much. So if I do it on a Saturday, then I can do it 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. because my brothers are home. They can help my mom. I don't know. I'll talk to my mom when she gets home a little later this week. And, I'll see what she thinks. Because I do need her input a little bit on it, because I don't want to plan over top of anything she does. Can you do it on the 13th or 14th? That would be really cool. I mean, I can. That's what I was originally looking at doing on the 13th, was because Columbus Day, a lot of places have off. I know that's not like a nationwide or international holiday or anything, so not everybody would be out of school. Not everybody would be off of work, but it just might be the best time, in all honesty, because it's before my mom has her surgery. So, I don't know. That might be the best. I already have the plans written down, though, so, like, that's fine. The other thing, though, is, like, I was really hoping to do it while they were gone. My parents were gone. Because then I could be as noisy as I wanted, but they ended up coming back before I was able to do it, so that's just not going to work out, sadly. I'm off on those days for parent-teachers conferences. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Whatever time suits you best. That's fair. That is fair. I mean, one thing's for sure. If I do it at 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. here... let's see, in England, that would be, like, what, 4 p.m.? That's not too bad. That's not too bad. So it would at least give my European audience some time to watch, and then it would give the Americans some things to do when they get off of work and online from being school. EST is 5 hours behind at the moment. Our clocks change at the end of this month. Okay, I gotcha. I forgot. Yeah, there's different time changes. Right. I don't know when our time change is, but I think it's in November, like first weekend of November, maybe. Sunday. Possibly. And I don't want to do it that weekend, definitely. Just because I'm gonna be so tired anyway. I've got a lot going on here at the end of this year. I don't know. Ours changes 26th. I see. Okay. I'll check. When does ours change? It says on my calendar. I just forget. Ours changes on the 2nd of November. So yeah, just a week after you guys. I do like the time change when it falls back. I do not like the time change when it springs forward. I very carefully calculate my sleep. So when I lose that hour, it's like, life sucks. So, like, everybody's just like, oh, but just go to sleep early. And it's like, but if I go to sleep early, then I ruin my sleep schedule again in a different way. So I can't do that. Time change in general is my op, fair enough. That is so fair. We ain't doing no ads here. Snooze that. Snooze that. Okay. So from 27th to 2nd EST will only be 4 hours behind. Okay, so that's... Is there any good things we could do with that? I mean, that would give me November 1st to do a stream if I wanted to. Let me see, do we have any national holidays in that time frame? Not really. I have Halloween. Yeah, that's the problem. I was looking for holidays. If it was earlier and it was September, I would have just said, oh yeah, let's do it on Labor Day. I just don't have a lot of options here. Because if we go clear up into November, then I have time on, like, you know, Thanksgiving week, or we could go clear up into December instead. I don't want to. I'm not going to, because I feel like that would be cheating you guys, and we very well could, and we have done it before. We could hit a future follower goal instead, which I want to hit 1,750 before the end of the year, which is a lot. It is 230 more followers in the next 2 months, but I've done that before, so I do want to see if we can do it. It's gonna be a little bit crazy if that happens, but I do need to do that 12-hour stream before October is over, I think. More than likely. And if we don't hit by December, that's not a big deal. But I know next year I want to hit 2,000 at minimum. At minimum. I'm not sure on other European country time changes, and I'm the only Brit that watches that I know of. That's true. You are... Well, let me think. Do I have any other British people that watch? I used to have some other British people that would pop in and say hello, but because of school starting, they haven't been able to, but I don't know if they would. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't revolve it around my time. I'll be there whenever you decide to do. I appreciate that. And I will say, it won't be at a bad time outright. You know, I'm not going to be doing it when it's, like, super, super early for you guys. Like, it's not going to be at 5, well... Yeah, it won't be at 5 in the morning or anything. It may be a little on the it may actually... It'll end... Yeah, it'll end right about, at this point in time right now. So whatever time it is for you. So 3 a.m.? Yeah? No. Yeah. 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 It would end right around 3 a.m. and it would run from 3 p.m., I believe. If I had that correct. So that's not terrible. And honestly, I don't expect anybody to be there for the whole thing. Now, that said, some people did surprise me one year. Last year, there was a couple people who stayed for the entire thing. I'm amazed when people do that, but don't do that to yourselves, please. You are actively harming your own brain cells doing that. I promise you, there's better people to watch. There's better people to watch. Let's do... Uh-oh. I didn't mean to do that. That's okay. I am gonna find us somebody to raid. I'm wrapping up. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today's stream. I'm thinking we let's see, we're at 1.6 in terms of builds. So that leaves 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20.4, 20.5, 20.6, maybe? No. Yes. 20.8, 20.9, so 20 more updates to go. And most of those are game drops. A lot of those are game drops. So those will be tiny little islands with a small amount of features, if anything. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Yeah, we could make that work. We could make that work. In fact, we may do a lot of those on the 12-hour stream, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Let's see. I'll be there the whole time, probably, even if I'm not talking much. I'm still here. I appreciate that, Nathan. Nathan the GOAT, for real. Honestly, Nathan might... I'm curious, Nathan. How much watch time do you have? Watch time... That's my own watch time, Streamlabs. Nathan, there we go, okay. You've got 76 hours of watch time. Jeez. That is insane. Actually insane. GG's, dude. What the heck? And in 4 months, 4 days, 2 hours. That is actually wild. I mean, what are we looking at there? So 4 months times, we'll just go 30, plus 4. So that's 124 days. 76 divided by 124. So you're on average watching me about 0.61 hours a day, and I don't even stream every day. So like, if you divide that by, or no, how would you get like per stream in that time period? I guess you'd take your 124, divide that by 7 to get your weeks, and then multiply that by 4, because I do 4 streams a week. So that would be 70. Divide that by 71. 76 divided by 71. 76.25 divided by 71. On average, you have watched every single stream in that time period, which I know you've missed a few, probably. you've watched every stream at least 1 hour in those 4 months. And I know more recently it's been more steady watching, which is actually insane if you think about that. You all just ignore that watch time from me. That's like a little less than the time I've streamed. I've streamed a lot of hours. Anyway, I need to wrap up things before the ads kick in, so I'm gonna find us a raid really quick. I already got a person selected because I see it's their affiliate anniversary, and I think they're pretty cool. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay. Then I'm gonna do something, and I don't know what that something is, but I'm gonna do it. Okay. Probably draw or pretend to draw and more so cry. We'll see. You know, sometimes they laugh, sometimes they cry, but through it all, I was gonna say I thrive, but I don't know if that's true or not. We're gonna say hello to the Fools fam though. He is playing Skyblock Kingdoms, and he is not family friendly, just to say, because it says intended for mature audiences. If that's a problem, then feel free to hop out of the raid. That's a-okay. But they're celebrating their affiliate anniversary. It looks like it's going to be a good time, so hop in the raid, get some free channel points, meet a cool streamer along the way, and I will see you guys next time. YouTube, you're not going anywhere. We're wrapping up right here. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.